Hello and welcome to our York City Knights review of the season 2006. We're here at York Racecourse for the Knights end of season presentation dinner to get some interviews and also on the programme to take you through some of the tries the Knights have scored in the 2006 season. But we'll begin with an interview and let's talk to the York City Knights chairman, Roger Dixon. So Roger, we talk about the ups and downs of sport, and we've celebrated some ups in recent years. I suppose now we have to deal with the downs.
Yes, I mean it's the best of times and the worst of times, isn't it? It's the nature of sport. It's never pleasant being on the wrong end of a result or the wrong end of a season. But on the other hand, I know you have to learn from these experiences and develop and then build on the experience, because we've learned a lot this season. And so, okay, I'd rather not find ourselves in the position in which we are at the moment, but on the other hand, it's definitely not the end of the world.
Relegation is always depressing in any sport, but there's a lot of positives to look at as well.
You're absolutely right, because, I mean, taking the analogy of the worst and best, the worst, we've said it, we've talked about it, it's relegation. The best of this season, when you think of the work, the splendid work done by the academy squad and the academy coaching staff, when you see the recent announcement of the fact that now we're extending the scholarship scheme to 4 age groups, covering the under-13s through to the under-16s, and the continuingly magnificent work done by Jason Ramshaw and Ian Wilson in the schools of York and North Yorkshire. I mean, 128 schools, 25,000 young people engaged not just in the sport, but engaged in the camaraderie, the sense of discipline, the sense of self-worth, growing in confidence themselves in their own abilities, boys as well as girls. That really is, as far as I'm concerned, inspirational and is one of the major developments and continuing developments of the club, and is something that everyone associated with the Knights, without sounding at all complacent, but they should take great pride from, because it's a very, very important contribution to the health of the next generation. It's quite magnificent.
This is a strong, united club. We've received a lot of praise over the last couple of seasons, but inevitably when your results are not going the right way, you get criticism. How have you dealt with the criticism, do you think, as chairman of the Knights and your colleagues at the club?
I'm not wanting to be pedantic. I suppose it depends upon how you're defining it. How does one deal with it? In one way, perhaps I've dealt with it badly, in the sense that there may be people who feel that notwithstanding their criticisms or observations, nothing gets done, they're not taken notice of, their complaints go unheeded. If that's the perception, it's one I regret, and insofar as there have been shortcomings on my part, I'd apologise unreservedly for that, because at no time has any decision been taken intending to upset or offend. So far as gratuitous criticism of myself, well, that goes with the territory. I'm not saying it's water off a duck's back. It would be quite wrong, because there are times when one feels, well, look, you can say your say, but sometimes passions can lead to somewhat excessive terminology. But so far as criticisms of the playing squad or the coaching staff are concerned, I personally would reject that, and I don't think that is a useful contribution. It's so easy to support anything when things are going, and I don't just mean the Knights, anything. The strength, in my opinion, of an organisation is not when it's sailing through lovely calm seas. The strength of an organisation is when it's in maybe more demanding oceans, and it's whether or not it can stick together or fall apart. We've had the maximum cooperation we could have had from the stadium, but they are proscribed by health and safety regulations, still allowing no more than 200 people in the bar. And when you've got over 1,000 season ticket holders, but you've only got 200 that can go in the bar, and that leaves aside, sadly, and doesn't gratuitously ignore, but does present a problem with visiting fans. I haven't been happy that there has been maybe criticism of the club that visiting fans can't get access to the bar. I've been aware of it, but I just don't know how to square that circle. So I'm mindful, we are all mindful of that, and I'm sure it's upset quite a few people, and I really am very sorry about it. But I haven't yet come up, well, I talk for us all. I just can't, if anybody's got an idea that makes it work, I'd love to hear it.
Now, last season we had a discussion about the merits of scrapping promotion and relegation from Super League. This season the Knights have 10 points, which is a record for any team to come up, and would probably, hopefully, get in the playoffs in National League One had we remained in National League One as the club builds and moves forward. With your own experience seeing the Knights go down in the second relegation place in a league of only 10 teams, has that changed your mind about perhaps the merits if the Knights could have been protected for a season as they tried to do with Le Catalan and plan to in the future?
I still think that we knew, all the clubs who took part knew what the rules were. Namely, there would be automatic relegation for the bottom two. I hesitate only because it seems strange to me that if the bottom two automatically go down, I don't see why the top two from National League 2 automatically shouldn't come up. There seems to be an inconsistency. I can understand, without rehearsing them for you, everybody who is interested in the game understands why there may be playoffs to generate a continuity of the season, maybe some more gate receipts and this sort of thing. But I don't understand the apparent inconsistency of approach. So I can't bleat now, and it would be sound very whinging to bleat now about the application of the rules that we knew subsisted. But if I may, quite separately, I do, having now had the experience of being in National League One, there is an acclimatisation to a decidedly different atmosphere. And I think there could well be a case for arguing that a side that gets promotion should have a period of readjustment. Is it good for the game? Rhetorical question. That there might be clubs who say, well, look, it's not a question of what we want to do, it's a question of what we can afford to do. And if we slip back into National League 2, we cannot afford. That's why it's not mandatory that in National League 2, for example, as an academy side. So for 1 year you've had an academy side, and then where is the building? Where is the development of the game? And that's an angle that certainly has been just one of the things that, having been in National League One, makes you realise there's I don't for one moment, and I don't say this defensively, that there was a huge step up, was known. But it's like everything. It's not until you've got there, not until you've experienced it, that you realise that the gap it's measurable. I suppose the counter-argument would say, oh, well, if you go up and you know you're going to be up front at least a season, why bother to compete? Why bother to try and win? I mean, you can end up being bottom with no points at all, but you're not going to go down. I, for one, that just the 4 years I've been involved in the game, I don't believe any team goes out there not caring. They always go out wanting to win. Every team. You see the excitement, you see the depression, the elation, the disappointment in the players' faces, whether home or away. I think any team, we all want to win. We all want to win a game of cards, don't we? We all want to win tiddlywinks, and we certainly, if teams want to win. So I do not think it fosters a complacent sort of, oh well, I needn't really bother.
Well, we certainly wanted to win, Roger, and thank you very much for your time this evening.
Thank you, and thank you again for your continuing interest in the club.